How many people think that eating this salad is unsafe?
Not Fulgen, it's really safe.
So, both are actually correct. The salad could be unsafe, or it could be perfectly safe. You wouldn't know. But for the purposes of this talk, let's say that both this spinach and lettuce contain E. coli and salmonella, and this chicken contains listeria and is undercooked. So, Escherichia coli, usually known as E. coli, salmonella, and listeria are all harmful types of bacteria that can be found in your food. E. coli is naturally found in healthy human and animal intestines, and one of the ways that it can contaminate your food is if manure is used as fertilizer. Salmonella is similar to E. coli, and non-severe symptoms could include fever, vomiting, diarrhea, or any other flu-like symptoms. Children are at the most risk for getting a salmonella infection. Both of these bacteria, or all three, can cause symptoms as severe as kidney failure and death. Listeria is a bacteria that's usually found in frozen vegetables and deli meats, and it's especially dangerous for pregnant women because it can affect the baby severely. By a show of hands, who's heard of the FDA or the CDC? Because it was on So the FDA is the Food and Drug Administration, and the CDC is the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. And they're both government agencies that work to create regulations and policies to make sure that our food is safe. Food that's found to contain harmful bacteria, or pathogenic bacteria that can spread illness, is called contaminated food. Food item can then be recalled by agencies such as the FDA, which means it's taken off grocery shelves and restaurants are told not to prepare that food, so people can be prevented from getting a foodborne illness from that particular product. Websites such as the FDA or the CDC website have sections on their website dedicated to informing the public on food item recalls. Food contamination, or when bacteria enters the food, mainly occurs in three different locations. The place where the food is grown, the place where it's manufactured, packaged, and distributed, and how it's prepared by the consumers and the restaurant chefs. In each of these stages, food contamination can occur in countless ways, and here are some examples. When it's grown, in the case of eggs, if a hen's organs are infected with the bacteria, the yolk of an egg can be contaminated before the hen has even laid the egg. If fields are sprayed with contaminated water for irrigation, the fruits, vegetables, grains, or whatever the farmer is growing can be contaminated before they're harvested. Where it's manufactured, it can be contaminated if unclean water is used to either wash the product or sanitize equipment, and if food comes in contact with an unclean surface, the bacteria can spread throughout the food and contaminate it. And a way that meats are often contaminated is if when they're slaughtered, the bacteria on the outside of the animal's hide gets into the meat. Keep in mind, this is only what happens in the USA, where we have relatively good food inspection and relatively safe food supplies. In other parts of the world, there is no food inspection. And in America, we consume 650 billion pounds of imported food from other countries each year, and only 2% of that food is inspected. Now that you know that there's so many ways to get sick, I'd like to ask another question. How many people do you think get sick each year? One in how many people?
A lot.
Okay, raise your hand if you think 1 in 100 people. 1 in 200 people.
Is this for only due to food consumption or like for everything?
Food.
Okay.
1 in 500 plus. Okay, so the answer is 1 in 6 people. Approximately, in the US, 48 million people get sick each year from eating a food that's contaminated with the bacteria. And out of those 48 million people, 128,000 are hospitalized and 3,000 don't survive. In 2010, Senator Tom Coburn of Oklahoma told the public that only 10 to 20 people die each year, and he was off by almost 3,000. This question, are there types of food that are safer than others? When you think of food that's safe, healthy, and environmentally friendly, the word organic may pop into your head. Who thinks organic food is safer? But is it really? Here's the answer, which I found out after interviewing Professor Robert L. Buchanan at UMD. And he has a doctorate degree in microbiology and is a professor and director of food safety at his college. Consumers believe that organic food is safer, healthier, and more environmentally friendly. However, it differs from regular food only because it's grown with different amounts and types of pesticides and fertilizers. Who here likes Chipotle?
It's horrible.
So this restaurant, right, is an example of how organic food isn't always safe. Recently, they switched to all organic, and which led to the fact that their food caused several major E. coli outbreaks that ruined the restaurant's reputation. In fact, manure, which could still contain E. coli, is still used as fertilizer in some organic farms. When you realize that you can contaminate your own food, especially if you don't wash your hands, it really puts the issue of food safety into perspective. Everyone can always be more careful when preparing food. Remember to use clean equipment and be careful, but you have to remember this. Sometimes, no matter how careful you are, you may not be able to prevent yourself from getting a foodborne illness. Check websites like the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA website, or the Center for Disease Control and Prevention website to find out more information on food safety and to be alerted about food recalls. So I don't want anyone to go home today and tell your parents that you can't eat salad. No one should be scared about eating dinner tonight. Professor Buchanan, who teaches food safety at UMD, still takes the risk to eat salads just because he likes them and they're good for you. So just remember that our food supply is changing and that every day you eat food mainly consisting of foods from other countries where there are different policies and regulations for food. And most of the time you have no idea where your food comes from. So just know that you have a responsibility, and that you and everyone in the world has a role to play in food safety.
Questions for Sana?
Does E. coli look like tiny jellyfishes? Because I think I have a plushie of E. coli.
I guess.
What was the question?
Do E. coli look like jellyfish? Well,
Somewhat.
Oh,
I've heard that, you said during the presentation, they can also get salmonella from an egg, but is there a way to get it from consuming eggs raw or like, meat which is undercooked? Because I heard that maybe.
well, because when you cook food, it kills bacteria. It kills most of the bacteria that's in the food. So if you were to eat food raw and food that's not cooked, especially if it's eggs or meat or pig batter, there is a possibility that you would get the bacteria in the uncooked food. Allison?
So if you said that cooking foods kills the bacteria, does like overcooked food make it?
Well, except for the fact that it might be burned, but no, I don't think so. Jennifer?
Can we get E. coli, salmonella, or listeria without food consumption?
So you're saying that if you didn't eat food, you'd be able to get? Well, I suppose for E. coli, if you went to the bathroom and didn't wash your hands, and then licked your hands, then maybe that might help. Sixth graders, I don't think.
One more vote.
Tiny children.
In your personal opinion, do you think the school food is safe?
In your personal
Oh, that's a tough question.
Okay, let's let Sana answer the question.
It's edible.
Yeah, no
All
one
I really
likes
have to
you.
say about the school lunch, but then again, yourself the question, is what you ate for lunch today safe? You don't know that.
We do. It's no.
Okay, Sana, let's take two more questions.
Something that edited from Whole Foods is probably 90% safe.
No.
You might be spending the next 3 hours in the bathroom today. Sarah.
The difference between, well, let's say organic food or whatever, and whatever gets put into the school food is that the school food might have chemicals or other stuff, and chemicals are probably not known to have E. coli or salmonella or listeria. But organic stuff is probably better for you because you're not meant to eat chemicals. I mean, seriously, we evolved from things that lived off the land, and now we are living off of stuff created in labs.
Well, just because it's organic doesn't mean it's safe. And
No,
just
no,
because,
I'm saying it's better for you. That's pretty much the only difference.
well, it's not necessarily any better for you, but there's a smaller chance that it would contain this harmful bacteria. Ronnie.
So are you saying that like in other countries food is safer? Like food
Well, it depends.
alright, cause like in India, you get like milk straight from a cow basically. And you have to like heat it up to kill all the germs before you can have the milk. So
But at least then you know where it's coming from.
All right, let's stop pessing. Let's give her a big round of applause. She did great.